Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a quick look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on. Got the question recently, hey, we got a rising wedge pattern, but also an ascending channel. What does that mean? We're going to talk about that here today and the potential for turnaround or upside, what that might look like. Also want to recognize a few things too. We'll open up with kind of a news flash here. It's nothing like super amazing, but it is interesting to note. There is some whale purchasing Bitcoin at aggressive rates. So roughly, we had 1,000 Bitcoin bought on, what was that, Saturday? 1,000 Bitcoin bought on Sunday, 1,000 Bitcoin bought on Monday, and again, 504 just yesterday. So truth be told, this is a very large amount of purchasing power, and that is all roughly at the price point about 37,000 to 37,700. Okay, so just note there's somebody accumulating a large amounts of volume there. That does give me a little reassurance, understanding that with that much Bitcoin being bought here, there's a good chance the price could continue higher just because there's confidence in buying that much, or they're just buying a whole heck of a lot so they can short the entire market. A few different scenarios exist, but again, just some things to kind of think about there. Once more, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I hope you can learn something here today. If you do want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is the site, link down below. All right, so let's talk about liquidation levels here really quick and kind of see what's going on. We got some long liquidation levels at 36,700. Mentioned that yesterday. Some of them got wiped out, but for the most part, they still survived with that little candle wick just at 36.7. So that basically implies that we got a decent amount of liquidation there. We got some low leverage liquidation levels at about 35,300. That's more my speed. And then, of course, the inverse as well, where we got some high leverage shorts at 38,000. And of course, some low leverage at close to about 39. So just kind of give us an understanding. We're kind of in the middle of that range there, where the shorts are a little tighter due to the fact that 38,000 is a tentative resistance. Okay, I like to emphasize the word tentative because it's not definitive yet. It does seem like with us waking up to 38.5, 38.4 a few days ago, there's a good chance we could very well see that level retested. Another thing to note as well is there are more longs than shorts here today. So it just implies that folks feel like it's more of a bullish situation where they want to go ahead and buy, considering there's been a lot of stability at 37,000. And I would side with that. The price hasn't gone below 37,000 much, with the exception of yesterday for a little bit. So truth is, there's a lot more confidence there in that sense, but we're seeing less whale activity here today too, so keep that in mind as well. All right, folks. So taking a quick look at open interest, we can see a ton of open interest right here at 37,400. Let's hope those are not late longs. Let's see what's going on here. Probably a combination of both. There are a lot of longs opening at 37,400. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the charts and confirm. I think, if I recall correctly, 37,400 has a decent amount of volume. So there's a good chance that is what they're buying. As far as the support, there's also an equal amount of shorts at that level too, with some previous shorts at 37,000. Okay. So again, it seems like the bias right now is that 37,400. There's a lot more interest. Could also be the fact the market just opened. There's a lot to do with that too, but generally speaking, this will probably tell us a lot more. Because open interest is one thing, kind of just tells us where people are interested in buying the most, the most amount of volume. But here, this lets us know that we have a lot of people, extremely large amount of confidence after the price didn't come any lower than 36.7 for folks to take a long position and to have their leverage be about 36,400. So 36.4 is a large accumulation of volume there. And that tells us that could be a target, essentially. You got to keep in mind anytime there's a large amount of volume or liquidation levels at specific points, the price action gravitates towards that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to drop to that level instantly. There's a lot of support at that level. That's probably the reason why we're seeing that, though. You got to recognize that. So it kind of just helps us on the back end understand kind of generally where people are focusing their efforts. We can see here really quick, we'll just jump onto this here. Let's go ahead and make this a little easier to see. There is a fair value gap here, right here between 36.7 and 37.2. Okay, so with that being mostly filled, that's basically where that candle wick came down to. That does imply that the price action may not necessarily need to pull back much further, and that we've cleared that fair value, and the price could continue to run. We do have some previous liquidity up in this upper level, but again, that's just something that has already been swept with this upper wick to 38.4. So a lot of liquidity levels have been swept, minus this one little guy right here at about 38,300. Okay. So is the price going to shoot up to that level? The likelihood is fairly low, but I'd be surprised if Bitcoin doesn't do something like that, honestly, at this point, just the way that things have been going. But just note, based on Elliott Wave here, the price action is looking like it wants to pull back. In other words, we've fulfilled our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if this is our lowest point, which seems likely, then we could very well establish a lower high and then a lower low after that. It doesn't necessarily have to come all the way down to 34,800, but it could and definitely should come down somewhere in the range of sub 36,700. Yeah. So again, just some things to be mindful of. Let's take a look at the daily and kind of work our way down here. So once again, we are in this ascending channel. And you got to recognize when you have an ascending type of channel, we can kind of broaden this a little bit here. The price action has a tendency of breaking to the upside. Okay, so again, it's typically the occurrence. Price will inevitably break up because it keeps establishing higher highs and in most cases higher lows. We're seeing generally higher lows here as you continue to scale up throughout the days. But generally speaking, that's not a bad thing at all. This is more of a bullish sign than bearish. Keep in mind also we have the MACD still diverging. Yeah, this isn't phenomenal, but it's starting to plateau here, so there's potential for a shift in momentum. We can also see as well RSIs between 50 and 70, kind of that sweet spot for any type of bullish activity. So until we break below that on the daily, I'm fairly convinced that the price action is going to be able to remain where it's at, either range bound or potentially break that 38,000 mark again. Okay? We can also see the money flow index is increasing based on the amount of volume that we saw over the last few days. Now, keep in mind, money flow index, this is based on the last 14 days of trading, and you can kind of see here that this is not necessarily a perfect situation, but we're still above the 20-day SMA here, and some reason we can keep on maintaining above that, okay? So it's awesome stuff there. We've also got a little bit of liquidity up here, of course, left to sweep as well, so keep in mind, again, raking the price up to 38.5 once more could be a possibility, okay? So take a look here at the 4-hour. Once more, we kind of already highlighted this, but I didn't touch on the RSI. This is actually a good sign here. This is what I was talking about previously, where the money flow index comes down to a low point. Typically, buying that dip is not a terrible consideration. And as we can kind of see, the price action has since recovered. I mean, it's not like a dramatic amount. It's only 2%, but for Bitcoin, that's kind of a lot. And if you kind of see the big picture here, we're back up over the moving averages, which we were soundly below those yesterday. So with us being back up over those levels, we have about an hour left in this 4-hour candle. We should be in pretty good shape to continue higher. That's likely why we see some late longs entering the market at about 37,400. Okay, because again, we've broken through that most recent high, broken above the moving averages, and our MACD is now almost fully converged. Okay, and those are all positive contributing factors. Those are signs that I look for when I take long positions regarding Bitcoin or any other coin for that matter, right? Again, being up over 50 on the RSI, MACD convergence, above all moving averages, those are some really, really important factors there. Okay, so those are all positive contributing factors that should lead the price further up. Let's double check the Ichimoku cloud. I'm willing to speculate we're within the cloud, if I recall correctly. Okay, we just broke above. That's actually good. So breaking above the cloud, that's also a truly bullish sign here. So in all reality, Bitcoin's looking pretty good. These are all signs that I look for to take a long position. Now, am I willing to take a long position at 37,500 for Bitcoin? I would say that I probably am not. It's just not something I like to do. Adding to my spot bag, maybe a different story, right? But taking a leveraged position at this level just seems a little late in the game. But again, stranger things can happen. The other way you look at it, though, no matter how you look at it here, okay, is the fact that we've broken our most recent high. We're above all moving averages on the 4-hour. We got a MACD convergence up over 50 in the RSI. We've now cleared the cloud here. So these are all extremely positive contributing factors. That leads me to believe we're going to see some green in the market here today, and some alts are going to potentially continue to surge, as long as Bitcoin dominance can start to start to average itself out. Because again, if this continues to go too high, then we're going to be in a situation where the alts are going to dump. Yeah, so we're actually in pretty good shape there as well with this kind of plateauing. So I think this is a pretty nice little situation. I'm more so bullish than bearish on Bitcoin at this point. It's got a lot of really good contributing factors here in the smaller time frames. There's really not a lot here telling us it's going to go down. Again, market manipulation, whale games, all those things, sure, that'll happen. Be prepared for it. I mean, as soon as I upload this video, the price is going to drop. That's usually how it goes. But for the most part, we're seeing some really solid activity here for Bitcoin. I like to see that. All right, folks, get ready for a potential breakout. This is definitely looking pretty decent in the overall sense of things. I haven't been able to say that with Bitcoin in a while, so love to say that. All right, thanks again, folks, for watching. Hope you learned something here today. Make sure you check out our Bitunix exchange, new affiliate, of course, that we have. November 30th is a cutoff to be able to benefit from this extra little bonus there just for registering and essentially trading on futures. So be sure to check that out. I've heard tremendously good feedback from our community, and I like them a lot as well. No VPN, no KYC. Check it out. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. See you soon.